Welcome to the Expect Success Podcast, a presentation of GeorgeBollick.com with your host, George Bollick. This podcast is for all things personal development. Don't expect success, prepare for it. Please welcome your host, George Bollick.
Welcome to Expect Success at GeorgeBollick.com. Now, in addition to listening to our podcast, you could also view the video format on YouTube at GeorgeTube.com. Mark Cuban is a serial entrepreneur, author, philanthropist, and owner of the NBA Dallas Mavericks. Since Season 2 in 2011, he's been one of the Shark Tank investors on the ABC reality show Shark Tank. Ever wish there were 3 simple rules to entrepreneurship? Mark Cuban has them for you in today's episode. Listen to Mark.
I'm going to give you some quick and dirty rules that every entrepreneur needs to be aware of. Number 1, sales cures all. There's never been a company in the history of companies that's ever succeeded without sales. Anybody who's ever told you, don't worry about sales, you can grow it and then worry about sales later, they're lying to you. They will fail, you will fail. You have to be able to sell. And do you know who the biggest salesperson in your company has to be? You. And number 2, selling is not convincing. Selling is helping. A lot of people, particularly if you don't have a sales background or this is your first time into sales, think it's like, oh, I'm selling ice to Eskimos, right? I'm doing something where I have to convince somebody to buy something they otherwise wouldn't buy. Wrong. That has nothing to do with anything. When you're selling, you're helping. The whole concept of being a great salesperson is not about who can talk the fastest, even though I am talking kind of fast. It's not about who can talk the most nonsense. It's about taking the time to understand the needs of the person you're selling to. Because if you can't create a benefit for them, if you can't show them why your product is going to be better for them and their life than the other options out there or what they were doing before, you are not going to have a company. The third message is all entrepreneurs lie to themselves. We all go through the same process. We tell ourselves, this is the best. Everybody loves us. Everybody, no one's going to not like my product. Of course, that's not true. What I like to tell people is when you have a company, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to figure out how to kick your own ass before someone else does it for you. You have to look at your own company and be brutally honest with yourself and say, what do we do well? That's great. But also be honest and say, what do we not do well? Where are our challenges? And then how can we improve?
That's awesome. For more about Mark Cuban, simply search YouTube. And be sure to visit his website, markcubancompanies.com. His best-selling book, How to Win, is available at his website and or Amazon.com. And remember, as the late great Jim Rohn used to say, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Today I've been hanging out with Mark Cuban. Keep up the momentum. Subscribe to our newsletter so you never miss another episode. We'll catch you on the next show. And thanks a million for listening. See ya.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Expect Success Podcast with your host, George Bollick. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please rate, subscribe, and review. And find more great content online at GeorgeBollick.com and on Facebook and Twitter at George Bollick. We'll catch you next time. And remember, don't just expect success, prepare for it.